Hey there, it's Walt. I love the study of peak performance. In fact, I can geek out on the study of peak performance. I'm always looking at the latest research and going deep into it. And for a number of reasons, Ann and I are ultra distance runners. We run marathons and ultra marathons. And of course, we're high altitude mountaineers. So we're spending days or weeks, months in the high mountains of the world. And so we want to perform at the top of our game. And of course, as entrepreneurs and business professionals running a global coaching and consulting firm, we want to be able to serve at the top of our game. And so peak performance is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. But not just the study of peak performance, but what I call sustainable peak performance. Because here's what's true. If you are listening to this video, you're capable of wrestling anything to the ground. It's part of your DNA. It's who you are. How we show up in the world is we get stuff done. That's part of our DNA. And so it's not a question of can we perform at a high level in any one moment in time, but how do we go the distance? How do we go the distance over a 100-mile race? How do we go the distance over a very difficult stretch in our career, or over the arc of a career? How do we sustain peak performance over time? And so I stay curious about that. And we're always tweaking things like diet and nutrition and supplements. And what's the latest and greatest thing to experiment and to tweak in our lives? And in this new work that I'm reading, I come back again and again and again to something that's so stupidly simple, and yet we all either don't look at it or pretend it's not an issue because there ought to be other more complicated things that yield and open the door to sustainable peak performance. And it's sleep. It's sleep. Again and again, the research comes back to the importance, to the cornerstone importance of sleep for sustainable peak performance. In athletics, in art, in entertainment, in business, it's sleep. And for most of us, we need 7 to 9 hours of sleep. My sweet spot is somewhere around 7 hours and 45 minutes. It's in there. I used to think that I could muscle through on 5 hours of sleep. During that dozen years where I was managing my law firm and raising 3 young boys on my own, that was kind of like some bravado. I just need 5 hours. That was just absolute BS. None of us can sustain it over that length of time, or very few of us can go a long period of time without getting rest, without sleeping and getting that optimum amount of sleep. What happens when we don't is that our acuity drops, our focus drops, our ability to pay attention drops, our productivity drops off the cliff. And for some reason, we like to pretend that that's not true. And, for those of you who are my lawyer colleagues, our error rate increases significantly, as in malpractice. So the sleep piece is incredibly important, and there's some fascinating additional history around the science of sleep, which suggests that it's not just human beings that need sleep, but that sleep is built into the to life itself. That single cell organisms have sleep periods. That earthworms that go back 500 million years. We've been around for 1.8 million, 2 million years on the planet. Earthworms go back 500 million years and they sleep. And the research shows that it impacts positively on their neuroplasticity. Go figure. So summertime is a wonderful time to revisit sleep. We're not driving as hard, as long in the summer. It's an interesting time to come back and experiment with something that's really simple. Sure, diet, exercise, supplements, all of that stuff is interesting and fun to tweak with, but perhaps just in this wonderful period of summer, we could come back and experiment again with what it might be like to get an optimal amount of sleep. And I'll tell you, when you have that sweet spot, it's amazing how on fire you are about your life and about the work you get to do. Now, I've discovered that there are a few things that get in the way for me of sleep. So number one is caffeine. I love a nice dark roast in the morning, but if I have caffeine after about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm just toast for sleep. It doesn't happen. Alcohol is another issue that gets in the way of a really good night's sleep. We tend to detox alcohol in the middle of the night, and it will disrupt our sleep. The other thing that gets in the way that I have found is that when we don't have a hard shutdown at the end of the day, we carry our work deep into the evening so that we're working like right to the point in time where we are supposed to be going to bed. That will get in the way because our minds are all churned up. And then the fourth thing that can get in the way of a really good night's sleep is a backlit screen for too long. Even if you want to read and decompress, if you're reading on a backlit screen, that lighting will disrupt our sleep hormones. And so as you're beginning to look at sleep for yourself, think about the things that might get in the way for you of a good night's sleep. And then when you're on holiday, when you're on vacation, play with not setting your alarm and discover what that sweet spot is. Because as I said, when you hit that sweet spot, you are on fire. So yeah, peak performance, all of the productivity and time management stuff and diet and exercise and all that stuff is great to look at in your own life for peak performance. But this thing is like really simple and it actually feels good. Make it a great rest of the day, great rest of the week. Talk soon.